Welcome to all of you wonderful ladies and gentlemen to my first FM experiment here on my brand spanking new football channel on YouTube. If you could change the world in some kind of way, what would you do? Eliminate wars or world hunger? Get rid of all the annoying sicknesses like a certain pandemic? Or how about something even better? How about a world with not only one, but 5 Zlatan Ibrahimovic? That's what I want to expose onto the world, and that's the alternative reality we will be living in today.
You should follow me all over the world, because I am the world.
I have started up a brand new save with all the leagues that I feel the 5 Zlatans would be interested in. And I've cloned 5 Zlatans and put them in his original team on Malmö FF in the Swedish top division. Our new line of Zlatans are all 16-year-olds, and I've given them as close to the skills of the Championship Manager 2000-2001 database. Yeah, he was not at the same age or even at Malmö at that time, but who could honestly know or understand the full potential of Zlatan when he was 16? So I feel this is the best choice for his attributes. I will also be keeping an eye on how all of this will affect Malmö FF, which is currently being coached by the legendary Danish striker Jon Dahl Tomasson, and I'm sure his hands will be full with 5 young Zlatans on the training ground at once.
There's only one Zlatan.
So let's go and enjoy the new world with 5 Zlatans. Or actually 6, as I'm not removing the original Zlatan who is still active playing for Milan. It's interesting to me how 4 Zlatans chose the same agent, Vincent Bowman. Will be interesting to see if Zlatan the First stands out in any type of way with his unique choice. Since the start date is in February of 2021, due to the Swedish league schedule, I think we will fast forward to the summer of 2022 for the first update and see how the Zlatans have done in their first and half year of professional football. Who will win the position in the first 11, which Zlatan will be benched, and how about the national team or under 21? All of this will be a lot of fun to see, so let's transition over to the hopefully warm and peaceful summer of 2022. So before we check anything, how many Zlatans do you think have left Malmö after 16 months? I'm gonna guess 2. 1 to a team in, say, England and 1 in Spain. That's what I'm betting on. Let's start out by checking the status of Malmö FF. They actually won the Swedish Premier Division in 2021. That's great, well done to you. And is there any Zlatans left? Yeah, there is. Kinda. 4 of them are still in Malmö, but it seems like all of them are transfer bound out of here. And I'm guessing they will all move this summer. Zlatan the Third is the only one I cannot spot, so it will be fun to see where he has went. Let's start with Zlatan the First though. He played a lot last year, starting 21 league matches out of the 30 that are played in the Swedish league. 10 goals, 7.25 average, a good first half of this season, and I also see that he's gotten himself a few matches with a flag on his chest. Not bad for such a young player. And he's going to Manchester City for a small fee of 920,000 British pounds, with some added on clauses it seems. Why is he joining next January though? That's a bit odd. But okay, a big challenge for Zlatan the First in the coming years. I would not be surprised if he gets loaned out for a year or two, but we'll see. On to Zlatan the Second. Where might he be ending up? Oh wow, only a couple of league matches for Zlatan the Second last year. Will this be the lesser Zlatan? It does seem like he has gotten more chances so far this year, so perhaps Zlatan the Third was in the way for him? Or perhaps it was just injuries. Nah, Zlatan doesn't get hurt. He has gotten himself a national team cap, so I guess it's only a matter of you cannot play them all at the same time. I would find a way though. He's also leaving next January. No idea why the transfers aren't happening this summer, and he will be leaving to play for Liverpool. That's 2 Zlatans in the English Premier League, and this lesser Zlatan is going for 2.3 million. Okay, time to find the missing Zlatan. Where is Zlatan the Third? He is in Sporting? That's an interesting choice. No offense to Sporting, as it is a big European club, but compared to the likes of Manchester City and Liverpool, this seems like an odd choice. He played nearly every league match last year for Malmö, performed well, and then left in January of 2022 for 2.3 million. The same amount as Zlatan the Second. I must say that I like this choice, as he's getting regular playing time right away for his new club. 6 league goals on 9 matches so far, that's excellent work by Zlatan the Third. Will be interesting to see how long he will stay there, as I'm sure there will be bigger clubs knocking at the door quite quickly. I'm gonna guess he makes another move for himself before he turns 20. Back to Malmö, and we now have Zlatan the Fourth. He only got a few league matches last year, just like Zlatan the Second. I'm surprised at the lack of rotation by Jon Dahl Tomasson here. only one appearance from the bench so far in his career, so I guess he is the lesser Zlatan so far. And he is also joining Liverpool in January. Is Jurgen Klopp still a manager? Is he obsessed with Zlatan? That guy doesn't mind a challenge, huh? So not only has Zlatan II and Zlatan IV been warming the bench together, they will go on to fight for a spot at Liverpool against each other. I feel like a rivalry will be brewing here. And finally, last but not least, Zlatan V. Another one that hasn't got much playing time. Honestly, I would find a way. I'd play 3 Zlatans in front and 2 on the sides if I had to. I'm really shocked by this actually. When you have such amazing talents on borrowed time, you should give them regular playing time. If for nothing else, then to increase their sales value. Let's see where he is going then. Come on. Another Liverpool-bound Zlatan. Are they trying to recreate the Beatles Zlatan edition? This makes no sense to me. Why bring in all 3? I guess they do come pretty cheap, but still. How can all 3 achieve their full potential by competing against 2 identical players? Only Zlatans would be able to create such a situation.
I'm not the typical Swedish guy, but I put Sweden on the map.
Even though all 5 has gotten some playing time for Sweden, we can see that currently it is only Zlatan 1 through 3 that's called up, while 4 and 5 are on the under 21. We will look closer at the development of the Swedish national team further along. So I guess this was a fun start to their careers. Since every Zlatan has a new club now, I think we will fast forward 4 more years to see how they're doing in their early 20s. I'm sure there will not still be 3 Zlatans in Liverpool, and I'll make a guess and say that 2 are gone. While I also think our sporting Zlatan might have moved on as well. Hopefully to a different league than the English Premier League, as I prefer my Zlatans to be spread out over the entire Europe. So, where to start this time? Let's go and take a quick peek at what Malmö has done since last time. They have not been able to cash in on the Zlatans and haven't won another league trophy since 2021. I guess we will let Malmö be now, as I don't see any more Zlatan related interest in them after this. So let's go on to check out how Zlatan I is doing. He was joining Manchester City in January of 2022, and I'm curious to see how his career has progressed. He is still there. It looks like he was put into the A squad right away, and while he was used carefully the first 1.5 season, it looks like 2024-25 was a breakthrough season for him. He has not become a true goal scorer yet though, and I think he needs to prove that if you want to keep playing that regularly for City. And look what we got here. Paris Saint-Germain is interested in him. Perhaps a new challenge is awaiting him already this summer. He has already gotten himself over 50 matches for Sweden, and in the national team it seems like he's scoring just fine with impressive 38 goals on 56 matches. While none of the Zlatans are among the best paid players in the world yet, Zlatan I is the highest paid out of the 5, with a weekly wage of 250,000. Okay, moving on to Zlatan III, as I'll keep the 3 Liverpool Zlatans for last. Has he moved on? Is he still in Sporting and Portugal? Let's take a look. He is not here. Where can he have gone? I'll lose my shit if he also ends up in Liverpool. Newcastle. That was unexpected. He transferred before the 2024-25 season for a whopping 28.5 million. A nice deal for Sporting for sure. He's doing well, but like Zlatan I, he has also not become the striker that will score every single game. 46 matches and 30 goals for Sweden. Will be interesting to take a look at how they're done with all of these young Zlatans in the national team. And finally, our 3 last Zlatans in Liverpool. How many are still there? All of them surely can't be there, right? Guess I'm wrong, they all are. Zlatan II has become a right winger. Not a bad decision by Klopp. That is, if Klopp is still around. Yeah, he is. Zlatan II has also started well enough. Regular and increasing playing time from season to season. And I guess it is only a matter of time before he and the rest of Zlatans start to perform to the best of their abilities. Not as many national matches for Zlatan II, and only 3 goals on 27 matches, so I'm guessing he's playing a right winger there as well. Zlatan IV has kept his position as a striker, and he has not fully broke through Liverpool's first team yet. He spent a year on a loan in the Championship with QPR, where he did quite well I think, and after that he hasn't got that many chances yet under Klopp. Could this be the first Zlatan that moves away from Liverpool? He hardly gets any playing time for Sweden either, so I would say that perhaps it's time for Zlatan IV to move on. Zlatan V is also still a striker, and he seems to have gotten a good amount of chances for the last 2 seasons. A good progression for him, good stats with both his club and national team. 14 league goals on 28 matches last year is good enough, and I would assume that he is the one that will be pushed in the future for Liverpool. And just to check the performance of the team, Liverpool has not won the Premier League since the 3 Zlatans became regular players for the club. That's perhaps a bit disappointing. And no Champions League trophy either.
Lions, they don't compare themselves with humans.
Let's finish this year with an update on the Swedish national team. They play 4-4-2 as they always do and always will. That gives room for 2 Zlatans in front, and I guess Zlatan II is doing his best to compete against Kulusevski on the right. Sweden did manage to qualify for the 2021 World Cup in Qatar, where they failed to go further than the group stages, being eliminated by Uruguay and what do you know, Norway. United States took the 3rd spot, leaving Sweden on a poor 4th. They had to go through playoff stages to qualify for the 2024 European Championship, where they ended up in a group together with Wales, Romania and Portugal. They beat both Romania and Portugal, and even got a sweet little revenge victory against Norway in the quarterfinals, in a match that would go to penalties where Zlatan II, the 3rd and the 5th scored. Even with 2 goals by Zlatan III, the semi-finals against Spain became too rough, with Spain securing a 3-2 victory to go to the finals, which they would then lose to England. Sweden has currently qualified for the 2026 World Cup, but since they are in the middle of playing those matches, we will get back to their progress after the next jump of years. Perhaps Zlatan IV will be able to make a new comeback by then. And I think this is where we will end the first video on the 5 Zlatans. In the next one we will speed up to the year of 2031. That will mean that our beloved Zlatans will be 26 years old, and I'm curious to see their movements. I'm gonna guess that at least 1, perhaps even 2 of the Liverpool Zlatans has moved on. I also don't think Zlatan III will stay that long in Newcastle, so I'm expecting or hoping for at least 3 transfers in the next 5 years. And I also hope that this video was entertaining enough for you to come back on part 2. Subscribe, like and all of that stuff, and I'll see you next time in the world of the Zlatans. Thank you and peace out.